funniest thing right now.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to
थोड़ा सा टेढ़ा रुका। जब वीडियो खत्म हो तभी स्विच करना। बोल दे नॉट स्टार्टेड येट। चेक चेक साउंड चेक, दिस इज अ साउंड चेक 1 2 3। Awesome. Hey guys, welcome to this very special live evening with me Kshitij on Shoot Guru, and today we are talking about something that is very dear to my heart, is shooting B-roll videos. तो आज हम बात करने जा रहे हैं how do you shoot those amazing ads that look mind-blowingly beautiful. So guys, welcome to this very special live session with me Kshitij on Shoot Guru. I know there have been some technical glitches to begin with, but don't worry, this happens because we're coming live after a little while. And today we are talking about something that is very dear to me, is shooting B-roll videos and amazing advertisement style montages that look mind-blowingly beautiful. So आज हम हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों में बात करते जाएंगे, हम थोड़ा इंग्लिश में बात करेंगे. If you have any questions, please put them up in the chat box. I am taking care of the live chat as well. थोड़ा live demo भी होगा, थोड़ा सा interaction भी होगा. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We will start in just 1 minute. So this is a sound check. If I am actually audible to you and if you've joined us today, please put in the live chat that where are you from and your full name and what you do. It will just allow us to know you guys better. और अगर आप चाहते हैं कि मैं हिंदी में ही कंटिन्यू करूं तो प्लीज़ अगेन लाइव चैट में डालिए कि मैं हिंदी में बात करूं ताकि मैं हिंदी में ही ये कॉन्वर्सेशन आगे ले जा सकूं, और कोई लैंग्वेज मेरे को इतनी फ्लुएंटली अभी आती नहीं है. Tech by Terrific Boy. Mani Kanta. Hi, Mani. And Hyderabad. Amazing. We have so many people who join us from Hyderabad so often. Mani, I can't talk in Telugu at all. I don't even understand Telugu for that matter, but I do love Telugu songs, as I have a couple of students from Hyderabad who I keep interacting with, and of course they keep sending me these really, really cool songs and films that I don't understand, but they're nice to listen to. So anyways, let's begin. My first and foremost question to everybody who is out there doing films, who's out there doing ad films, who's doing product videos, who's doing unboxing, product reviews is, do you shoot B-roll videos? I know we got inspired by one person or two person or three people in this world. One I personally follow is Daniel Schiffer, that they developed the art of B-roll videos. But believe me, it's not the case that B-roll videos never existed before them. They always did. The basic definition of B-roll video is additional footage that acts as an overlay over your main footage or over your core footage. That is what B-roll footage really meant. And B-roll also is called cutaways. So whenever we do interviews, whenever we do documentaries, and we are interviewing people, or we're in corporate films, we're doing anything with interviews of people, we need supporting footage to kind of make it look better. Those videos or those shots, those clips are called B-roll videos. They are actually a very, very essential part of storytelling, wherein they add value to your main film and add value to your story so that you can tell it better. But over the past few years, I've seen these amazing international filmmakers, and now a lot of Indian filmmakers as well, who've created such amazingly mind-blowing content on the web, which has allowed us to be mesmerized by what they are doing. So they do these amazing transitions. They handhold and do slow-mos and transitions which look so beautiful, so amazing. So but there is a method that they have to follow. There is a method that they really follow to get the right kind of result. The first method is you need to have the right lighting, and I'm going to switch the next slide. Sorry about that lag. YouTube apparently is acting up today, so I'm trying to figure that out. But let me know where did I lose you guys. Mani, can you tell me where did I lose you guys during the live session? Did I actually talk about budget, or did I lose you guys much before? Okay, let's start again. So coming back to the pre-production process of shooting B-roll videos. So this is where I think left you guys, and this is where I think kind of lost you guys, but let's begin back here. So whenever you're actually planning any kind of film, and this is a very, very, very basic thing, is that you need to get your pre-production right. You need to make sure that the structure of your pre-production, the structure of your film on which it stands is perfect, and you are able to produce your content basis that. So the first thing that you need to understand whenever I talk about the pre-production of a B-roll video is determining your budget. Budgeting is very, very important. I know when we begin, we could be shooting for ourselves, we could be creating content for ourselves, and we might not be charging ourselves for it. But what are you really doing it for? You are prepping yourself to create content for clients in the future. Now, when you do that, when you prep yourself to do something like that, you have to be sure that you do it correctly. You have to be sure to know what your costs really are. So what you do is you determine your costs and budgets. So consider your fixed costs, your phone bills, your transport, your rent, your food, anything that is a fixed cost. Second, you have to be sure that you are actually taking care of anything and everything that is an input into your film, be it meetings, be it talking to clients, be it talking to your friends, be it gathering information, putting time into it, anything and everything is an added cost to it as well. Because when you are on live projects, when you are on working with actual clients, you will have to go and meet them time and again. You will have to have a lot of pre-production meetings and of course post-production meetings as well. So consider all of those. And a cost that is very, very important is your post-production cost, which we rarely consider, because we could be a good editor, you could be an amazing editor, you could do amazing edits, but what if you're busy when your edit time comes? You will have to hire outside, and that will be an added cost. So already consider these costs before you go ahead. Second, understand your audience. It is very, very important to understand who is consuming your content. Are you doing this for your Instagram? Are you doing this for your YouTube? Are you doing this for any other platform that you are targeting on? Be it TikTok as well. You have to understand what kind of audience exists on these platforms and what kind of content is this audience already consuming and what do they really like. Like for example, you cannot show a horror film to somebody who likes comedy, a comedy film to somebody who likes action, and an action film to somebody who likes drama. You have to understand what your audience is asking for and create content accordingly. Your first 10 seconds of your video will actually will be very, very considerable, because that is what is the hook time. And that is the time which will actually hold your audience to watch the full video. So please make sure that you understand what are the likes, dislikes, and characteristics of your audience and create content accordingly. Hence, clarify your message. You have to understand what kind of messaging will work for your audience and what kind of messaging will really be a hit. I've always heard this fact, and I've always heard this story coming out of writers and content creators while they're thinking about the next big viral video. Well, there is no such thing as the next big viral content. You just have to keep creating content and something will go viral someday. So keep creating, be consistent at it, and of course research. You have to do a lot of research. You have to consume a lot of content in terms of research so that you understand what is working in the market and of course deliver something better. One of the best platforms of research which I have loved over the years is a website called Vimeo.com, V-I-M-E-O, Vimeo.com. This website is so amazing. It actually allows you to watch content created by creators around the world, and the best bit is the staff at Vimeo.com handpicks a lot of this content and they put it out for you so that you can actually learn from it. Another very big thing, all the content available on Vimeo.com has the credits in the description section, so you can go to the description section and actually connect with these directors and DOPs and producers and production guys and actors and learn from them. You know, learn what has been their success story, learn what has worked for them, and work on your content accordingly. For a perfect, B-roll video, you need to have a shot list. You need to understand each and every shot, because each and every shot will lead to a transition and a transition will lead to a storytelling. So you need to have a perfect shot list in your pocket before you actually get into a production. Now, please make sure you do not do anything without a shortlist. Why? Because you will end up losing a lot of time. You will not be able to light your shots better. You will not be able to move your camera in a particular way. You will not be able to, create transitions the way you want it, because you will just go round and round in circles doing the same thing again and again. But if you have the perfect shot list, your setups will be perfect, your transitions will be perfect, and your camera movements will be perfect. One tip: whenever you're understanding the kind of camera movements you want to do for your film, please look at content created by other content creators. That will just allow you to make your content better. And finally, last but not the least, understand and determine what your equipment needs are and what you really need to shoot a B-roll video with. For example, if I am shooting a B-roll video, my very basic necessity is that the camera that I'm using should shoot at least 120 FPS. It should shoot 120 FPS with manual focus or an autofocus, whatever possible. But I personally prefer manual focus because it gives me better control over the shot. And of course, full HD is a bare minimum. But if you have the capability of shooting 120 FPS at 4K, well, let me know, I'll join you for your next shoot. So we have a lot of people coming in. Hey Mir, how are you? Mani, I have explained this in the beginning. The basic definition of a B-roll video is a nice montage of B-roll shots that tells a story, something that looks beautiful. And here are a couple of examples that I want to show to you guys. So that is what basically a B-roll video is all about. It is a series of beautiful shots combined with amazing transitions to do actual storytelling. Now, something which I have always asked people to do and asked people to follow is practice handheld shooting. Shooting handheld shots is very, very important when it comes to shooting B-roll videos. And what I have learned over the years is, with the advent of technology, how technology has been developing, everything keeps changing from time to time, everything keeps developing from time to time, and shooting B-roll videos is becoming very, very easier and much more comfortable to do. So I'm going to be using a camera here which of course is a beast on its own. This is the Lumix S1H, but I am using a kit lens that is a 24-105 lens at f4. The camera shoots up to 180 fps, but I'm going to restrict it to shoot at 120 fps. On top, I have something which is very, very amazing. This is a Hollyland Mars 400S Pro, and of course this workshop is also powered by Hollyland. These guys make such amazing transmitters, and what this will allow me to do is to actually show you guys what this camera sees, and I'm going to switch cameras in just 1 second and just then make all the settings right in front of you. So we've just switched the camera, fixed the camera up. I'm just waiting for it to come online as well. The camera that I'm using is of course the Lumix S1H. It is giving a full HD feed onto this transmitter. The transmitter will actually allow me to give feed to for you guys to watch over here. This is what the feed is coming onto. So if you see, this is a handheld shot right now what I'm taking with the camera, and I'm just turning the image stabilization on as well. The autofocus is on right now. So this is a corner of our studio, what you see. And I have some props lying here as well. Now, what you have to really consider is, and if you guys are wondering what the setup looks like, this is what the setup looks like today. I have the aperture 120D2 right there with the dome too. And of course, a a monitor monitoring what is happening here. And the YOLO box running live with the live feed right there, and my team just standing on the other side looking at all your comments as well. And guys, this is the studio that we are working out of today, right behind here. The lights are turned off because we are working here today, but this is what it is. And this of course is the brick wall. If you guys know that we do free music videos on the brick wall as well. Switch please. So like you saw, the camera was able to give a very smooth feed onto the receiver on the other end, and of course giving a feed to you guys in the live session. Now you have to consider 2 to 3 things whenever you are shooting handheld with a camera like this. One, it needs to have good image stabilization. Good image stabilization will give you the capability to get very smooth shots. Second, you need to have the capability of shooting in decent light without flicker, so use LED that are flicker free LEDs. What I showed you right now was the aperture 120D2. The second light that I have over here, and I use this for a lot of B-roll videos, is this right here. This is the YC Onion energy tubes, which are mind-blowingly beautiful and create some amazing wave transitions. So using flicker-free LED systems is very important. Third thing you need to understand is that you need to have a constant preview of the footage that you're doing, because when you're shooting handheld and when you're taking particular kind of shots, you will not be able to follow your shots that well. So it gets a little tough when you are taking such shots. Do we have any questions? No. Awesome. So since there are no questions, I will go ahead. So how do you hold to shoot for B-roll videos? How do you hold the camera? It is very simple. You hold it like a photographer would do. You create a pivot of your body, give a base as a support, and of course always stand like a basketball player. Like I tell it, give your body some support and hold it with a perfect photographer's grip. Now this is important. Why? With a grip like this, you can utilize your body to actually create some amazing shots. For example, a pan shot or a tilt shot. And if I want to go vertigo, vertigo shot as well. So let's show you guys what these shots look like in the camera. Switch please. This is a pan shot. And vertigo shot, down to our transitions, everything handheld, and of course the image stabilization in the camera and of course in the lens is making it ultra stable. And when you are recording slow-mo, so let's switch this to slow-mo. I'm going to turn the settings menu on so that you guys can actually see what I am shooting. So I hope now you guys can see the menu as well. So if you can see, I was shooting at 23 or 24 FPS, 8-bit. So this was the footage. This is the kind of footage that I'm shooting right now. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to go here. वेरिएबल फ्रेम रेट कौन होता है इसका? So basically, we have multiple settings over here. If you can see, we have 4K at 30 FPS, 24 FPS, and of course 60 FPS as well. But then we have full HD at 120 FPS, 10-bit. This is actually shooting 420 at 10L. And then I can actually go 422, that is 10-bit footage at 60 FPS as well. So I'm going to go down a little bit more. And let's maybe stick to 24. And what you see here is that the variable frame rate has come back on. Now in variable frame rate, now I have an option of going up, is not giving an HDMI feed out. I'm going to switch back to the variable frame rate so that I can have an HDMI feed out. So what happens is when you change the basically the quality of footage that you're shooting on, the camera, the transmitter and the receiver, because they're shooting at a different like frequency of frame rates, it will actually change. Yeah. So this is 120 FPS with, if you look on the top, it's written 119.88p, that's 120 FPS with autofocus. It is doing face detection, it is doing contrast detection, it is doing literally everything to have a beautiful shot. If I'm going to frame it here, I'm going to do any B-roll style transition. Let's see if it maintains focus. It does. So basically, when you are selecting your camera and when you're holding your camera, it is very, very essential that you understand the whole ergonomics of the ecosystem that you work with. This, by the way, is a very, very heavy setup. This is one of the beasts that you can work with. Then I have a lighter setup that I usually work on is the GH5, which is a very, very small ecosystem. The Micro Four Third ecosystem allows me to have a very, very lightweight setup, because since this will be handheld all the time, you will have to work with your forearms a lot. Make sure you do your exercises regularly. And the basic exercise for any B-roll video guy is keep your camera steady at all times, and of course, do a lot of movement. And one day you will also lose weight, like I am planning to do so, but that might happen on a different day. Today we are talking about shooting some transitions. So let's see how these transitions are made. Now, you could do a fast pan. What you do for a fast pan is you start here, you go towards the end. Now, always have what I say interest at the end. You can't just open and close at a blank. For example, can we switch cameras? So I'm going to switch to manual. I don't want to. Yep. Focus done. So if I'm panning, one transition is my pan transition. So like I'm starting from here, there is a point of interest here, there is a lot of action going on here, and then I come here. Now this is a blank. I could always transition into this. For example, I would do something like this. Start here, go here, and fast pan here. Now when I fast pan here, my next shot should also start from here. It can either go from here up into a gray, which will not look good, or come down. Like for example, I start here, and I come back. So you can do a fast pan transition happening here, but make sure you follow directions and come back into the same directions as well. It just makes things look much, much better. Now, you could even do a into dark transition. Now, what is an into dark or into bright is, if I'm doing this, I go into light, right? For example, let's do this transition. Let's say I'm coming from here, and I go into dark or into bright, and from there my next transition could just start here and come out maybe here, right? So this is also a very good way to do some transitions wherein you move from light or darker subjects. I could go into black as well. For example, I could do something like, let's say we take this as a subject, and I go into a gray. My next shot will start here, and I will come back here. So this can be a color transition as well. These are all manual transitions that you don't create in post, but you have to create physically when you are doing it. Hold your camera perfectly, use your body for movement, use the perfect lighting so that there is no flicker. You just saw that I was shooting at 120 FPS with a shutter of 200. Still, there was no flicker in the footage. Of course, I was losing light. I was getting some bit of amount of gain because of the ISO, but that is pretty much, because of the lighting. Right now, the lighting is not done for a B-roll video. It's done for a live session, but for a B-roll video, you can do it a lot differently. So do we have any questions coming in? How much does a roll ND filter play in a B-roll video? Well, for me to tell you for a fact, nothing. It has not played any role for me because when I'm doing B-roll videos, even outside, I'm shooting higher frame rates. Higher frame rates means higher shutter. Higher shutter means I'm already compensating light. So I will not use an ND filter. What are the main concepts to keep in mind? Well, this is an amazing question. You have to understand, again I go back to what my pre-production slide was talking about, what your B-roll video is really talking about. Is it a product video? Then your product is your hero. Is it a video that talks about a place? Then the place is your hero. So there are so many things that you can do when it comes to B-rolls. Get inspiration, go on the web, see what other people are doing. When you're starting off, maybe you copy some of them, understand how they did their B-roll video, how they actually executed their B-roll film, and what was their output like, what was their behind the scenes like, what equipment did they use. Recreate that. I did that for my very first B-roll video, which was the back B-roll, which I just showed to you guys as well. I will show it again because I follow Daniel Schiffer in terms of music, I follow Daniel Schiffer in terms of transitions, and I do give him the credit of teaching me how to do that. Since then, we have done so many videos, so many product shoots over the last 2 years, and that have come out very, very well. So the concepts will develop once you start practicing and once you start developing your own style. Why should you do it with hands and not a gimbal? Well, for one simple reason, hands give you more control over your transitions and movement. A gimbal is much slower in transitions. So when if you're using a gimbal, you are very restricted with the kind of shots. You can't do fast pans, you can't do fast transitions, you can't do fast movements of your camera, which you can do handheld. You're already shooting 120 FPS, you're already shooting slow footage. You can't go slower, you have to move faster so that the footage looks much more prettier. For example, if I am shooting something going in the air, I can't do it with the gimbal. I can't follow it with the gimbal as fast as I can follow it using my handheld, and that is what is all about. Why do people do handheld photography when they're doing sports? Because the movement, the ball could go anywhere. In terms of cricket, the cars in F1 go much faster. You can't keep moving your tripods all the time. You can't keep moving your gimbal all the time. You do handheld shots as well. So this is the reason you have to shoot handheld when it comes to B-roll videos. It just gives you more practical movement and much faster movement. How do you decide which shot will look good at 60 FPS, which shot will look good at 180 FPS? Well, it is all about movement. If you are shooting in a place where the object or your subject is moving very fast, do 180 FPS. But if you feel that your subject is already moving slow, that's not that fast, that is when you switch to 60 FPS. Because remember, you will slow that footage down. You shoot 180 FPS, you will slow it down almost by 5 times. And if you're doing 60 FPS, you will slow it down 2 times. So imagine if you're shooting a bird flying, 5 times slowing it down will look very pretty. But a person crossing the street on a normal pace will look, I think the person will freeze right there, slowing it down 5 times. So consider the motion in your frame, consider the motion in your film, and then make your shot or decide on the frame rate that you're shooting on. Yes, the gimbal does not do such kind of shots for one simple reason: it does not move as fast. You can do nice movement transition with a gimbal. A gimbal is an alternative to what I say as movement shots in cinematography. Fianshu, can we have the videos back on, please? So till the time Fianshu gets the videos back on, let me give you some tips. Tip number 1. You have to be clear about your storytelling, you have to be clear about your shots, you have to be clear about how and where you're going to be telling what, and what is the story about, what your transitions will tell as a story, and what you will be telling as a story as well. Then once you decide on the storytelling of your film, you decide on the kind of shots. Every shot needs to be written. You have to write shot number 1, pan shot, shot number 2, transition into white, shot number 3, transition from white to subject, transition for movement tracking shot into subject's eye, transition 5, shot number 5, from the eye to the sky, shot number 6, from the sky back to the subject. So these kind of transitions, these kind of shots need to be written down so that when you're shooting, you make sure you're shooting everything correctly and you don't miss out on anything in edit, otherwise it'll look very, very bad. Another thing, if you are doing like transition based shots, if you are doing transition based storytelling, make sure you test those shots beforehand. Make sure you decide on what a particular transition will flow into and where it is taking you as well. Switch please, let's show the people some more videos.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end,
So that what you just saw in those videos were a variety of transitions outdoor and indoors, and somebody asked me a question about an ND filter. Like I said, outdoor situations you don't really need it. ND filters are used when you want to compensate light, when you want that 1.2 aperture and you don't want to mess around with your shutter to maintain that shutter sync for your best video quality. You will need ND filters to reduce light physically. Now, there were some videos which you saw, and especially the JD one, I will not say the full name, is because there was a light play in it. Instead of the camera movement, there's a lot of light movement that happened. The light that we used there was this. This is a YC Onion energy tube, a very beautiful portable lighting system, and again is flicker free. I'm going to reduce the light intensity a little bit so that you guys can watch a little better. I think much better. So now the LED system works very, very well when you are creating transition. There is a way when you move it, and the way you move it shows it on the object, shows it on the the subject that you are shooting on. Some very basic movements are a swipe right. People have a habit of going like this. Please don't do that. Lights, when you move, even on street light, they don't move in straight patterns. Street lights, if like this, if the car goes underneath it, it will automatically create a curve because the car is a curved object. Similarly, the object that you're shooting could be a curved object. Depending on the curvature, let's say you're shooting a lens or you're shooting a slider for that matter, a product, a pen, you could be shooting a wallet, you could be anything, you have to move in a curvature pattern that looks very, very beautiful. Another thing that you guys can do is if you have this capability wherein you can change the light of your, the color of your light, and of course create a new dimension altogether. I have here this is by the way full RGB spectrum. So I love the color red a lot. I'm just going to reduce the intensity a little more. Yeah. So this, when I do it on anybody's face, now why I love using tube lights is they give a much more bigger surface area of light to flow, and the lines that follow, the pattern that follows is very, very beautiful. Similar things you can do when you're doing, long exposure photography, when you're creating light trails, they look very, very beautiful. Here are some of more examples of what we have done with lighting. So those were some examples of outdoor shoots, shoots with light, and of course shoot with a lot of camera movement. Now there are some very, very interesting questions that have come up. One question is, how do you actually decide on the frame? Now it is important to understand the storytelling method that you're doing. I love getting inspired by what other people do, and I draw my inspiration from there and then create my own, what they have done, combining with my own experience, and I have something which is unique and very different. Now you can always set your frames depending on your subject. For example, if tomorrow you are shooting a B-roll video of food, so look out for such concepts on the web, look out for concepts that people have shot on food on the web, and then see what kind of frames and what kind of compositions and what kind of storytelling those people have done, and try developing something very, very similar or something new of your own. From there, what you can actually do is compose bases where you are shooting. Have a nice huge background because you will move. So have a very big wall in the background. Get the perfect lighting, because if your light falls off, the light goes less, you will get a lot of flicker or you will get a lot of gain depending on your ISO. And of course, finally, your transitions and your compositions go hand in hand. So compose your shots basis your transitions and how they will look. There's another question about the Sony a6400. It goes up to 120 FPS, so it does beautiful shots as well, but because of the small sensor of this the Sony camera, the low light capability of the camera is very, very bad. I've used it in the past. I just sold it last year. So be very careful in what you do with that. You will need additional light. The more low light capability is bad of your camera, the more lights you will need to add, and plus they have to be flicker free LEDs. Here are some more samples of what we have done. So there are so many things that you can do. The last video, what you guys saw, was actually shot during the lockdown last year, and it gave us a time of creativity. And what we have learned over the last 1 year is that practice makes it perfect. With B-roll videos, you have to practice the transition, you have to practice that movement. You will not get it right in the first time. You saw how many retakes I had. That BTS had only, I think, 1/10 of the amount of retakes I actually did, because that was my first video of shooting a B-roll film. Now, when you are practicing for your B-roll shots, how do you do it? Pick up a video on the web. It could be my video, it could be anybody's video. If you want my kind of shots, I can share my shots with you. Don't hesitate to ask. Put it in the comment section of this video and I will send my shots to you. Practice those shots. Replicate the lighting of those shots. I can send you a light diagram if you want. I can tell you the DIY lighting that you can use. And if you're based out of Delhi NCR, do come over to our studio in Gurgaon. You can utilize this space as well. Just apply for collaboration, come here and shoot your next B-roll video here as well. Don't hesitate to ask. After all, Tata Sky bhi kehta hai, पूछने में क्या जाता है. And practice, 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 practice will make it perfect, and you will get your shots in the end. So how do you practice? Again, imitate shots. Try holding your camera the way you have to do it. If you don't have a camera, try doing it on your phone. Your phone also shoots 100 FPS, 120 FPS, 240 FPS in some cases as well. 120 FPS full HD is a very, very common thing in many phones these days. I shoot using a Realme that shoots 120 FPS slow-mo, and we've done so many B-roll videos with it. You saw a video just a few minutes ago which actually was shot on a Realme phone, and the lights used were LED flicker-free LED systems. The focus was locked with using the long press, and hence following all the rules of a B-roll video, we shot a B-roll video. But the camera was there. We used light most of the times and moved the light instead of moving the camera too much. So when you're practicing, look at others, start doing that on your own, and you will get some amazing results. Here is one more film. I hope that this workshop has helped you guys to is videos, and when you're traveling, do something like what I did for Thailand. It was a single camera shoot, handheld at 99% of the times, except for when I'm shooting time lapses. But you know, you can create amazing transition in post-production as well. Just remember, if you are a traveler who loves to do B-roll videos for travel, please shoot 4K. That will give you the ability to create some amazing transitions as well. Now, one last tip before I leave you. Of course, use a wireless transmitter. If you ability, this also transmits onto your mobile device. Now, if I'm shooting in today's time and situation, if I have clients on the shoot, I give them an iPad or a phone, and I give them feed directly from this Holyland 400S Pro. That gives amazing results, and these guys are satisfied because they're looking at shots at all the time. But last tip before I move ahead, and of course say the closing words of today's workshop, is do a pre-roll and a post-roll every time you take a shot. What is a pre-roll is, you compose your shot, practice it once that it is a perfect shot, press roll, hold for a few seconds, this is your pre-roll, take your shot, land on your last frame, hold off for a few more seconds, this is your post-roll, and then cut. This pre-roll and post-roll will allow you to create some amazing transitions in post-production, and of course will give you amazing quality. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope we've answered most of the questions that were asked, and if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comment sections. Of course, like, share and subscribe, and if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, do so. Next week's live is going to be about lighting and lighting techniques. And of course, there's going to be a surprise giveaway at the end of the next week live. So see you there.
I just want money and fame right now.
I tried so hard.